Hi, my name is Umar Qureshi and I've always wanted to be two things. One, a Nawab, and two, an agent. I couldn't be either. I became a journalist, but I'm sitting with a man who is both, a Nawab and an agent. Agent Vinod himself, Saif Ali Khan. Welcome.
Thanks, Umar.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah. What news on the marriage front?
I'm a little scared of the kind of commitment. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
There was this incident which had a five-star hotel.
It probably shouldn't have happened. I should have handled it differently. That's the first step, and I am sorry. People try and then hurt you and say things about you because...
Why are Khans so hot-tempered?
We're not. We're actually, I think, actually very calm and decent and gentle. We're just terribly misunderstood.
So now you are the official Nawab, in spite of it being a tough year for you last year because your dad passed away.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, my father stopped being the Nawab in 1971, but we still called him that. I recently gave my mother sent me to represent my father in Patodi at a girls' school function. And he had organized a scholarship for the brightest child there that he would adopt her education. And while I was there, I was in fact saying that, you know, I mean, I'm certainly not the Nawab and don't want to be called that. As far as I'm concerned, my father was the last Nawab, and I think he's allowed to call himself that, never with any kind of, you know, social or princely aura in mind. It's simply because Patodi is a very small town. You know, I mean, as far as the other principalities go, it's probably one of the smallest. But it's also probably one of the most famous because of him. And certainly that name is written in gold leaf at Lord's, at Winchester, at Oxford, at many hallowed places. And I told the villagers this, that, you know, he's taken that, the name of that little village and made it very famous. So that's his place and his title. And as far as I'm concerned, inheriting that is just inheriting perhaps responsibility to take care of, in whatever way, things he was interested in doing.
But, I mean, a lot of responsibility on you, living up to the name A.
That's always been a big responsibility. That's always been a big responsibility. In fact, I was reading a book that my father wrote called Tiger's Tale. It was written in the 70s. It was good fun for me to look at now. In which he talks about following in his father's footsteps, being, he says, a little tiring sometimes. He found trying to live up to, and at many times their sporting records were, you know, neck and neck, and he found he was trying to beat his father's record quite often. But he's proud in his own way of having done better, like, and I don't know, but he was always happy that I had found something that I liked doing, I loved doing. I think that any parent really wants that.
And a different kind of responsibility now as a producer, your most ambitious project yet, Agent Vinod.
Absolutely. I mean, it's actually really nice to be in production. I love The Office, and over time, the same people who've been working with us have become a strong team, I feel, and I hope we continue to work together for a long time.
As a producer, it's slightly different. You're signing the checks instead of receiving them all the time.
Yeah. You know, there's two kinds of producers. I mean, there's various kinds, but you're certainly governing, you're controlling the money, and you're, you know, deciding what it should be spent on and controlling the budget and all these things. But there are people to do that. I think that it's really not my strength and my particular interest. I'm much more interested in the creative side of things.
In 1977, there was a movie called Agent Vinod, the same name, you know. But the new movie, the 2012 Agent Vinod, is cool.
Well, I think, in all fairness, in 1977, it was the Barjatiya film, and I had worked with them in Hum Saath Saath Hain, and I ran into Raj Babuji outside Sarah's school, and my daughter's school. And I asked him, I said, we're making this movie. He said, yeah, I heard. You know, but officially they have the title. So he laughed and said, you know, just take it and make it. If you look at old Bond films also, I mean, India somehow has always been a little reactive to the West. If it's, at least, you know, in the 70s and the 80s, you can see, I mean, we've been influenced by Western fashion, we've been influenced by Western cinema to a large extent. So if you look at an old Bond film, that's also quite cheesy now, and it's a little odd. And so the 77 Agent Vinod is also a little bit kitsch in that way. You can't make the same story. But the idea is that that genre has always been widely popular in India. So we just thought that the idea of like an Indian spy, given with the world making so many kind of spy movies, that why not have a character of our own? And within that, to be hopefully a little smart about it. And if
he's cool. This character is cool.
I mean, I think part of being in control is being a little cool. Like, you know, you don't get too emotional or too flustered about defusing a bomb or saving the girl or, you know, flying a helicopter or something. That.
Why are Khans so hot-tempered?
We're not. We're actually, I think, actually very calm and decent and gentle. We're just terribly misunderstood.
But why did you always want to be a spy? You said you always wanted to do a spy movie.
You know, I think I've always liked escapist cinema. Rather than making a serious movie or something, I would always be more excited to do like a, you know, a spy thriller or something that just jolts you out of your everyday life, and, you know, something little aspirational with cars and action.
It was a Bond gadget which inspired you to do it.
A Bond gadget?
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's one of those where, you know, with the magnetic watch, he opens the zipper of the girl in the dress, right?
Bond is the icon in this genre, so it's very difficult to kind of get away with that. But the idea is not to try and imitate. So we thought we'd do away with gadgets because, first of all, our guy is a raw agent. And he works for the Indian government, God bless them. So we're lucky if his phone works also. So let alone having Rolexes that can deflect bullets, that's a bit far-fetched for our kind of inter-services setup, I would have thought.
And everyone's looking forward to your pairing with Kareena. This time round especially.
Well, I hope so. But that's again slightly challenging and interesting. I mean, it's you can almost do a study. Like it's difficult to promote and really be accepted as individual actors when you're in a relationship. So I find that sometimes publicizing the film on your own makes a little more sense, because the minute you're seen together, it becomes something else. You're no longer whatever terrible term that people come up with. But
normally, girls don't get much screen time in an espionage film, you know.
Yes, but I think, you know, the soul of any good Hindi movie also is a strong role for the girl.
Was she the obvious choice for the?
Yes, I think so. There's a. I mean, if you see the film, it's not that. I feel a lot of our roles, any one of us can do. It's not that, you know, but. I mean, we wanted her in the movie, and we thought she'd be great for that kind of world. Initially, I don't think it's her kind of movie. It's not the kind of film that she'd like to watch. Maybe. I don't know if she'd like to watch a Bond film also, even though the other day she was enjoying From Russia with Love, which is an old Bond film. But it really
she's
does
very
suit
versatile.
her.
She can just...
But it's nice to see her in an edgy situation. It's nice to see her in a cool movie. Rather than a romantic comedy or like a... You know, there's a typical kind of movie that even, you know, Three Idiots is one of the best films I've ever seen. But it's that very squeaky clean kind of cinema somehow. You know, which is lovely. But it's nice to see her in a... Because I don't think she would have done that normally.
What news on the marriage front? I mean, when are you guys going to type?
Well, all personal questions we'll answer after the 23rd. Because right now we should only be considered as actors. So anything that would remind people of personal things should be avoided at the moment, for that reason.
Saif, you, as a producer, you worked with different directors now. You know, how do you tend to compare them, or do you know, how do they stack up with each other?
No, it's like, you know, like you read different books and they're different authors, and comparison never really enters it. There's just, thank God they're different, you know, because you get, audience gets to see different takes on things, and actors get to work in different kind of, you know, color zones or in different treatments, really. So there's no point in comparing chalk and cheese, you know.
Would you direct yourself soon?
I don't think so. I think maybe. I'm a little scared of the kind of commitment, because I think, you know, production is very creative in itself, but direction is different. I mean, I think, unless I'm wrong, you kind of visualize what the film should be like roughly. You have an idea, and then you hire directors and actors to
fit in,
to make it. But to direct, you know, I'm afraid I would get really obsessive about it, and I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
You know, you've been one of the coolest guys in the industry, one of the most sensitive.
You've said cool so often throughout this.
Yeah, and polished. And at the same time, then you hear of this angry side to you. And then there was this incident which at a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
You know, so how did that happen? You want to, you know...
Yeah, well, you know, I'm really sorry in the sense that I think that stars should always set a decent example. But, you know, there comes a time once in a while where if pushed, people react like normal human beings. I mean, if somebody hits you first, 9 times out of 10 you might turn around and say, listen, calm down. But maybe 1 time out of 10 you react in self-defense or something. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd pretty much like to forget about what happened. It was between 2 guys, really, and it shouldn't have happened. And I understand, you know, a lot of people are upset about it. But I'd like to clear up one thing, which is that I would never, ever raise my voice, let alone my hand, to a senior citizen. I think that's a crime comparable. I mean, you should be put in jail if you do that. But people try and then hurt you and say things about you because... and another angle to all this is also, I think, the media sometimes, you know, they pass judgment on you and they say terrible things with the security that, you know, they are above reproach and nobody can bring it up with them or question them. So they have a lot of power, you have a lot of power. And when you misuse that, it's frustrating for the actor and it's upsetting. But, you know, in the end, you become philosophical about it and say, you take the rough with the smooth, I guess.
But what exactly happened? Would you like to shed some light on that?
No, because, I mean, it's been like a while now and I've spoken about it so often. I think what I said was right, that people have heard about the incident. And it probably shouldn't have happened. I should have handled it differently. That's the first step. And I am sorry to all the senior people involved and whoever was there to have witnessed something like that. But it was between 2 guys. And it was an argument that shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I'll try and make sure that sort of thing doesn't happen again.
But the lady who was with the group has given an interview today saying that, you know, she's going to take this matter to court.
Yeah, but, you know, ladies get very upset sometimes for various reasons. And I think they're best left to calm down and, you know, I could easily, my experience says to add a little bit of spice to that is not a good idea. It's just to leave it.
I'm going to ask you a few rapid-fire questions.
Sure.
Yeah. It's called the OQ47. Yeah. Let's see. What's the most romantic thing Kareena has done for you?
Well, I'm probably driven, you know, quite far across the north of India to come and meet me on some special day or something like this.
The one thing you don't like about Kareena?
No, I like everything.
Which remake would you like to do? Suppose you were cast with her.
No.
Okay. You worked with a lot of co-stars, you know, like who's your favorite? I mean, you enjoy the maximum camaraderie with?
I got along well with Preeti Zinta. If I had camaraderie, I guess she would be the only person, really.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, producer or actor, what role do you prefer?
I think both. I love acting, but I think production is really, really creative also.
Suppose a movie was made on your life, what would the title be?
I don't know, Up and Down with Saif.
Lard Saab.
Huh?
Lard Saab.
Lard Saab. No, it's not a good title.
No?
No.
A recent film which you wish you had done?
3 Idiots.
Yeah.
And a lot of Amir's movies.
Love Aajkal or Agent Vinod?
Agent Vinod.
Agent, closer to your heart.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. And finally, like, why are Khan so hot-tempered?
I don't know, it's probably something to do with
the
Northern warrior genes or something.
Okay.
But we're not. We're actually, I think, actually very calm and decent and gentle. We're just terribly misunderstood.
Yeah, yeah. But Saif, wonderful talking to you as always.
Nice
and looking forward to Agent Vinod.
Yeah.
And all the best. Thanks.